Okay, we got to set this picture for you right now. We're talking about the fact that maybe your dad, you might think he's playing NFL Pro Air virtual reality, but no, he could actually be helping his Parkinson's symptoms. We have Dr. Jay Alberts joining us. He is a biomedical engineer at the Cleveland Clinic. And we also have a patient joining us too today, Richard, who we're going to chat with a little bit later. But first of all, thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
So what you're doing is really emphasizing the fact that an augmented reality can improve the life of Parkinson's patients.
Yeah, what we're using, so augmented reality, different than virtual reality, is so Richard will be able to see the digital assets in the actual environment. So think of it like if you have a car with a heads-up display with the speedometer, you can see that, but you're still driving in the real world.
That is incredible. Okay, so he is equipped with this on right now. We have Ryan over on the side who's going, he might have already kicked it off for him to see what this augmented reality is, right? And you're going to take us through what he is seeing.
For sure. So right now, one of the things that we're looking at is that, how do you assess both cognitive function and motor function at the same time, right? These are things that instrumental activities of daily living, right? So you're going to the grocery store, you're driving, you have to do two things at once. And so what we're doing here is having Richard do some interacting with a accounting system, financial decision making in terms of, assessing cognition, but we're also looking at his balance as he's doing this, right? And so that helps us understand the disease progression and potentially interventions that we should be targeting for him.
So it's kind of twofold in a sense. He doing this with you is helping others to understand the disease more, which is always wonderful when someone's willing to give themselves in that way. But then in turn too, what kind of improvements have you seen?
Yeah, so we've seen improvements overall in terms of this dual tasking, right? So when someone is walking and doing a cognitive task at the same time, which again, we do all the time, is we're walking the streets of Cleveland and watching out for a pothole or something like that, right? So you're processing this information, motor and cognitive, to improve performance. That's what we're going for.
And now, I know that we are so blessed to be here with the Cleveland Clinic at our fingertips. What does this mean for people throughout the country even?
Yeah, I think I like to think about this from that we're really sort of raising the bar and leveling the playing field at the same time. So I'm from a very small town in Iowa. 75 miles away is the closest movement disorders neurologist. So this type of technology we could put in my hometown, and clinicians could see exactly what the patient is doing. Wow. From a cognitive perspective, a motor perspective, and then offer insight into whether it's medication or rehabilitation, et cetera. So I think we're bringing the technology to
those small communities maybe that wouldn't have access to it.
All you need is Wi-Fi.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, again, you mentioned a couple of things. So how many different things are you looking at when someone is viewing this augmented reality?
Yeah, so we're looking at a lot. We're looking at the movements he's actually making with the camera, so the device can record his movements, which is great. And then also the device has IMUs in it to evaluate his postural sway, or if he's walking. And then also obviously all of the cognitive assessments, like is he correct in estimating the numbers, or is he getting the right, later you'll see some video with him doing the vending machine task. And so does he get the right items, right? We have different restrictions on that task.
Do you find that at times at all, that patients, as they're in this augmented reality, that it affects them in a way where they see it initially how this is impairing them? Is it bothersome to them at first, and then as you see the progress then coming from it then after that?
Yeah, I don't think it's bothersome because they already know, right? And so it's not like we're telling them something they didn't already know. What we're doing then is, through this technology and others, is empowering them to train it and to get better, right? And so one of the things like Richard will talk about is, you go to physical therapy, you generally go once, maybe twice a week, and there's a lot of homework, right?
Sure.
But do you do the homework? So this is a system or an approach that will help facilitate you potentially doing the homework at home.
I love everything about this, and again, it's a reminder to everyone that with Parkinson's, there can be improvements, there can be things made. There are steps that we can take if we know that they exist. So we are going to be chatting with Richard a little bit later on in our second hour. You're going to be back with us. We'll talk more about this and how, if someone's out there that might benefit from this, how they can get involved.
Absolutely, that'd be great. Excellent.
Thank you so much,
Excellent.
Richard. Thank you so much. Keep up the great work over there. I'll be chatting with you shortly, okay?
Okay.
All right.